It's time!
Oh yeah, it's time for Miss Lou Champion Sports Talk with me, Ronnie Calhoun, and the legend Joey Martin. It's entertaining, informative, and sometimes a little crazy.
These two guys when I had hair.
For me, it was just all about being coachable, being approachable, being a good team guy, and being what I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be.
Where did they get the hair from?
I think they took it from his lower back.
Okay.
And they moved it to the top. Hey guys, before we get started, we want to tell you about our champion partners, including our Hall of Fame partners, Greg Vet Clinic, Hicks Chicks, Syra Technologies, Kenny Chesney's Blue Chair Bay Rum, J&J Flooring and Natural Stone, Concordia Bank and Trust, and GoMart. So go visit all of our champion partners that you see on the screen right now. Make sure to do business with them and tell them Miss Lou Champion sent you. Enjoy the show.
Hey.
All right, guys, we are in here for another Tuesday morning. Sorry about that. I was trying to set my light up. We are back with another Thursday morning of Champion Sports Talk with myself, Ronnie Calhoun, and Joey Martin. Thanks for tuning in. How are you, Joey?
Good, buddy. Good.
Another Thursday morning, brother. Good to see you.
It is. Good seeing you always, brother.
All right, man. As always, we're driven by Sango GMC. Our buddy Mark Sanguinetti and his champion team will take care of all your used and new car needs. You make the drive, they'll make the deal. We're also brought to you by Greg Vet Hospital, Hicks Chicks, who just celebrated their 80th anniversary. That's a big deal. J&J Flooring and Natural Stone, Concordia Bank, GoMart, Sabrina Dore Agency, Miss Lou Family Dentistry, and all of our awesome partners that you see on the screen right now and you will see throughout the show, including Concordia Sentinel. We got a champion show today, Joey. Tell them who we got. Tell our folks who we got today.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks who remember Glen Davis when he was, when he was at South Natchez coaching in the early 80s, and then went on and became coach at Co-Lin, head football coach, and had a great career there, and was elected this year into the Mississippi Community College Hall of Fame. So we're excited to have Glenn. Can't wait to talk to him. That's
right, man. Well, let's go ahead and knock out the local sports, and we'll get to Mr. Glenn. What we got on the local scene this week?
Well, we of course we had Greg booking last week with Natchez Golf, and they had their big Natchez Open tournament last week. And Casey Fernandez, Madill, Oklahoma, won his second straight tournament. Wow. So congratulations to him. Max Gibson of Cabot, Arkansas, won the amateur division, just beating out our buddy Chase Kaiser. And Greg Brooking won the senior division. So they had to make some adjustments because of the weather, but it was still a big success. And congratulations to all the winners and all the participants. Getting to football, Fairleigh High struck first, but it wasn't able to strike again as the Trojans fell to Oak Grove 13-6 last Thursday in Oak Grove. And man, who would have expected that low score in a game? But and it's like Walter Johnson told me, I'm disappointed in the score, but not in the effort. And that's really what counts. Delta Charter and General Trask, 1 year after playing to an 84-82 Storm win last year in 4 overtimes, they ended up having another shootout. But unfortunately, the Storm fell short. Just a great game. Man, it went back and forth. Delta Charter fell to number 19 in the division with the loss. But I got to tell you, looking at some of the film and talking to a lot of the people, man, it looked like Delta Charter was robbed pretty bad. I know you hear that a lot. The referee. But after seeing some of the tape and talking with Coach Wheeler, who really doesn't get into bashing referee, it was bad. They had 3 inadvertent whistles that kept them from recovering fumbles, and which was huge in that game, and just 20 penalties against Delta Charter. It's really a shame because, like he said, we work hard, these kids work hard, and to have it taken like that, he said, I can take losing. I can handle losing, but not like when my kids get robbed. So anyway, hopefully they'll bounce back. Fairleigh High fell to Marksville, 48-16 in Marksville, and unfortunately the Vikings lost Elmore Lewis in that game. The quarterback, somebody fell on his ankle, so he's kind of day-to-day right now. So hopefully he'll be ready to get back soon because they sure need him. He's a big cog to that that team, special part of that team.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
absolutely.
Great athlete.
He is. Cathedral High, man, what a great win last Friday. Homecoming beat Oak Forest 17-13. Had a huge fourth down stop to seal that win. And now they're 6-3, a guaranteed a winning season, first time since 2020. And man, just a great night at Devereaux Stadium.
And that was
ACC
was that a come from behind?
Yeah, it was. It sure was. They battled the whole game, and Oak Forest, a really good team. So that was a huge win for them. ACCS running back Sean Carey Cawthorn had 198 yards rushing as they beat Clinton Christian pretty handily, and congrats to them. They'll play at a meet this Friday for the district championship. Natchez High, man, they're just kind of having it rough right now. Fell to Sumrall, 33-18. They're 3-5 on the season. It was final home game for the Bulldogs. But anyway, that's what we got local, buddy.
All right, man. Sounds good. Well, I guess we'll jump to our first break, and we will be right back with Mr. Glen Davis. See y'all after a quick break.
Ronnie and Shannon here with Miss Lou Champion Spotlight.
And we're here at our amazing partners, Gregg Veterinary Hospital.
Gregg Veterinary Hospital has been providing comprehensive, reliable, cutting-edge veterinary services to pets in the Miss Lou since 2002.
They welcome pets of all shapes and sizes who are in need of emergency treatment or who require routine medical, surgical, and dental care.
Dr. Gregg and his team offer a long list of services, including in-house laboratory diagnostics, digital x-ray, soft tissue, orthopedic surgery, dental care, extractions, laser surgery, laser therapy, preventative health, and wellness plans.
And if you need grooming and boarding services, they do that too.
So call Gregg Vet today.
Hi, it's Shannon with Miss Lou Champion Spotlight. If you like what we're doing, be sure to follow, like, share, and even comment on all our content. Also, visit MissLouChampions.com to sign up for our newsletter and to receive other information, as well as the opportunity to receive some awesome prizes. Thank you, Miss Lou, for your continued support, and as always, have a champion day.
We want to tell you about our champion partners, including our Hall of Fame partners, Gregg Vet Clinic, Hicks Chicks, Cyber Technologies, Kenny Chesney's Blue Chair Bay Rum, J&J Flooring and Natural Stone, Concordia Bank and Trust, and GoMart. So go visit all of our champion partners that you see on the screen right now. Make sure to do business with them and tell them Miss Lou Champion sent you.
All right, guys, we are back. Today, joining us, we've got a Delta State graduate who led Copiah Lincoln Community College for football for 21 seasons, becoming the program's all-time winningest head coach with a 114-81 record. His teams claimed the 2012 state title, multiple runner-up finishes, and the 2023 Heart of Texas Bowl, and he earned several Coach of the Year honors along the way. Many in the Miss Lou will remember his early 80s coaching stops at Morgantown and South Natchez, and he also served on the staff at Mississippi State, soon to be inducted in the Mississippi Community College Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome Coach Glen Davis.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all having me.
How are you, man?
Good. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
Well.
And it's pretty cool. You had Shannon doing your commercials there, because when she heard Glen was going to be on the show, she was all excited because they were real good friends back at South Natchez.
Yeah, sure were.
Yeah, I saw her post on that whenever we said we had him coming on.
Absolutely. Well, I want to go back, Glen, and talk about your day. When you started at Morgantown when you came to this area, right?
I did. I worked for Harry Young over there at Morgantown, and Coach Ed Reed hired me out of college, and my father-in-law, Woodson Earl, and Coach Reed had played together at Delta State, and Coach Reed hired me, and and then I get to Natchez, and I guess about 3 days before that, he decided to go to Tuscaloosa Central, and I tried to go there with him, but he couldn't hire me there because they had tenure back in Alabama, and one of the coaches on staff he had to keep, and so I wound up kind of starting out in the the junior high system there, and Morgantown was such a great place for me, and it was great areas. Kind of the kids there were a lot like I was when I grew up, and we just really enjoyed Morgantown. When the big thing I can remember about is the cinnamon rolls in the cafeteria. They were awesome.
And you coached with Gary Jones in basketball, is that right?
Well, Gary had gotten out of coaching. He and I played softball together down there, and but Jerry he'd kind of gotten out of the coaching part, and for some of the oil companies around there, and he was a super good guy.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you kind of joined the staff after 1980. That you won the last Big 8 title, which was like winning a state championship then. And then they went to a playoff system in 81 and won state there. So you step into a pretty good situation at South Natchez, huh?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was helping. 1982 was my first year there, I guess, and we played Meridian in the playoffs, and Meridian beat us in the semifinals, I think, and they wound up winning it that year, I believe.
So you went to the is it the Fighting Okras? Is that?
Well, they weren't the Fighting Okras when I was in college. I keep kidding my son about that. I said, y'all thing after I left. And,
what were they when you were there?
They were just the Statesman then.
The Statesman. Okay, so that's like is that their newspaper and all of that, the Statesman?
That's still the mascot, I think, but they have a Fighting Okra as maybe a mascot. I don't know.
Where in the world did they come up with this Fighting Okra thing? Do you know the background behind that?
No idea. I don't know where that even came from.
Hey, Glenn, what was it like coaching in the Notre Dame box? Was that something you had to adjust to?
What everybody's doing in college football now, and it's they were. I'll never forget watching Coach Reed and them when I first got there, or listening to Joey Porter talk about the center never went with the offensive line, and he was always with the skill guys, and where the snap had to be, there was one location that the snap had to be every time, and it was just it was wing T kind of, but it was in the shotgun, and then and everybody's just kind of evolved it into more things nowadays. But a lot of stuff you see people do in college football now, it started with the Notre Dame box.
Wow. And I tell you what, Bubby Griffey and Dean Brown ran it as good as anybody.
Yeah, they were right before me, but I saw film, and we ran it my first year there, and it was David Holloway was really good at the wing back, and I can remember that year we had several. I heard you say inadvertent whistles a while ago. We would have inadvertent whistles running the box, and he'd be running down the sideline with the ball up. They blew the ball dead, and so it was it was a lot about hiding the football and that kind of stuff, and those were little things that you don't hear about people talk about now in college football, is the nuances of some of the things that they do. But it was those guys were really good back then.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, what makes that, just for the non-coaches out there, what makes something like the Notre Dame box so difficult to defend?
Well, like I say, they would, they had people misdirection, people going different directions, and they did a great job of, of carrying out fakes, and they had the blocking back, who back then was Randolph Brown, who was a tremendous football player, and it was just probably the misdirection and hiding of the ball and not knowing who had it of the three guys that had a chance, and that was probably the biggest thing.
So it kind of freezes the defense for a second or two on every play. It sounds like
it does. They didn't know if the ball was going outside one way or if it was going downhill right at them, and the ball would be going around the opposite direction. And we had it where the wing back would go in motion, and he'd go between the tailback and the fullback, and in the snap. Just the timing of things. Really kind of, you don't see that kind of stuff anymore. There's a lot of people that try to run the box today, but it's nothing like what Coach Reed did.
And what was it like being part of that North-South rivalry back then, Glenn?
It was. I mean, to me, that's what that was high school football at its best, I thought. And North Natchez was really good, had a lot of talented players, and South Natchez, maybe sometimes wasn't as talented as athletically as North Natchez was, but because of what we did or what they did in years before that, it gave them a chance and kind of separated them sometimes. But there were a lot of good football players on the football field at the same time during those times.
Who were some of those guys at both South Natchez and North Natchez that kind of stand out to you that you remember back then?
Well, I mean, Randolph Brown was one. I can remember.
Went to USM, didn't he?
Yeah. He was there the year I was. He was a senior that year. Ricky Bird, Cedric Singleton, James Williams was at North Natchez. I mean, there were a bunch of both of those guys. Ricky and James went to Mississippi State actually the same year I went to Mississippi State as a GA, and but there were a tremendous amount of football players on those fields, and a lot of the guys wound up going to Co-Lin after that. Tim Brown, really.
Glen James was.
Glenn was there before me,
Okay.
But I played softball for Lynn, so I knew him, and David Holloway and all those guys, Bill Pressgrove, Rodney Williams, all those guys were on the team at South Natchez that year I was there.
Now, so how'd you end up at Co-Lin, Glenn?
Well, when I was coaching at Holmes, and we had a coaching change there, and I thought I was going to have a chance to get the head job there, and it looked like I wasn't going to be able to get it. So I decided there was a guy that I had GA'd with at Mississippi State, David Cross, and he had called me earlier about coming down to Co-Lin as assistant coach. So I went there as an assistant coach after that, and then Coach Sherrill hired me at Mississippi State. So I went there for 7 years, and Dr. Garner had called me, I guess, a couple times. Asking me when the Co-Lin head job had changed, if I was ready to come back to Co-Lin, and when I was at State, I was going to stay as long as I possibly could, just a lot because of being in the SEC and retirement reasons. And so when we got let go at Mississippi State, when Coach Sherrill was there, that's when I went back to Co-Lin then.
Man, what was it like coaching for Jackie Sherrill? That had to be a
I learned a lot from Coach Sherrill. He was, there were, the thing that I can say about him is that the players loved him to death. They would play extremely hard for him, and to me, that's what it's all about in coaching. Is, your players play hard for you, and I learned a lot about football, how to treat people, and he was mighty good to me, and I was kind of blessed to be a high school guy or junior high coach, high school coach, junior college coach before all that, to be able to, for him to hire me. And like I say, he was really good to me.
Awesome. So, now, I always said back then that to me, back then, the JUCO players, they seemed to want it more. They most of them had chips on their shoulders, not going to the bit bigger, but they weren't hungry to get to the next level as well. To me, that was always just, you had a lot of passion in that league.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's still true, Joey. I think, the kids that are in that league, they feel like they've been overlooked. I think one of the things that I always tried to tell them in recruiting is that, you can come here and play your way into something, and because, whether they overlooked you or didn't know about you. And I think a lot of that in the early years was probably true, is that, we were able to get a lot of guys that didn't, that they didn't have huddle. And I don't think counselors or high schools did quite as good a job of getting them qualified back in those days with their ACT. Now they take the ACT as an 8th grader now. And it's just so much more to help them now than there was back then. And the qualifying stuff, being a qualifier and having a GPA, it just wasn't talked about probably as much among athletics. And now some of the coaching staffs, they have a guy on their staff, and that's what he kind of does is he educates the kids and the families and actually the high school counselors, about what they have to have. And so, I mean, I think they do, a much better job. But I think the kids, the hunger part is I think you hit it on the head there. That's the biggest thing about the junior college league is that they feel like they've been overlooked, and they always felt like they had something to prove. And we did a great job of that when I was at Mississippi State recruiting those guys, and we might not get the 5-star high school guys, but I think we got a lot of 5-star junior college guys that came in and played really well for us.
To me, when you look at the JUCO, it's kind of an interesting coaching job a balance that you have to do there, because my knowledge of it, and I could be wrong about this, but it seems like you've got two different kind of kids coming in to play for the JUCOs. You've got the kids who are kind of maxed out, and they're like, I still want to play some ball, and my talent's kind of maxed out here. And then you've got these guys who are thinking, man, I'm going to play in the NFL, but I have to come back and play here. So you've got two different types of kids in the locker room as far as athletic ability and future. Number one, is that correct? And then number two, how do you balance that?
Well, I think the maxed out part, the kids are all wanting to play somewhere. And, whether, there's different levels, Division II, 1AA or Division I. And, I think that, they're all trying to get somewhere to help get their education paid for. And I think, we had some Division II guys, and some of those guys were basically guys that probably couldn't, graduate from junior college at that time. And, we didn't have many of those, but sometimes we did have some that they would have to go Division II. But most of the guys that had the Division I talent, they were able to graduate and play at that level. And, the guys that didn't qualify, I think sometimes you did have difference in talent level on your teams. You had guys at the highest some of them could play would be Division II. That was, but I think we tried to keep it in perspective for them is that, wherever you go, you get, go somewhere where you can get your education paid for. And to me, that was a big win for all of them.
And you coached a couple of guys that went on to the NFL.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have a bunch of guys that go play there. Tony Bryant went to the Raiders, and Randy Thomas went to Washington Redskins, and Nick Fairley was with the Lions and the Saints. Montez Sweat now he's with the Bears. We've got about 5 playing right now. Swayze Bozeman's in New York. Montez Sweat's with the Lions. There's several guys that are up there now, and like I said, we've been fortunate to have several through the years. Not having as many now because of the rule changes for eligibility. Used to, if you didn't have a qualifying ACT score, you had to go to junior college. Well, the NCAA did away with the ACT score, so now all those guys that we used to be getting, they're going to Alabama and they're going to Georgia or LSU or wherever. And so I think that's been probably the biggest change for junior college football is that.
Okay, I got to ask you, what was it like coaching Fairley, who was kind of the bad boy of the NFL?
I was just about to say, I wish you would have kept Fairley because he killed LSU.
Yeah. Nick had his moments. He is good as gold. Anytime I had a problem, all I had to do is pick up the phone and call his mama because she would get the car and drive from Mobile up there and help me get him back in line. But Nick was a tremendous athlete. He didn't play his freshman year for me because of Auburn. He signed with Auburn and was trying to get qualified, and it wound up being all the way to August before they made a decision on whether or not he had made it or not. And so he didn't play his freshman year. So he sat out that fall, and then in winter workouts, the first workout we had in the gym there, at the end of it, I let him play basketball for like 10 minutes. And so the first rebound of the first shot, Nick goes up and there's a one-handed rebound dunk. And Nick had been recruited in basketball by Kentucky. And
wow.
I when I'm standing at midcourt with one of the other coaches, and when that happened, I looked over at him and I said, "I think we've got one right there." He doesn't come down. I mean, it's all in one motion, the rebound and the one-handed dunk. And I said, "Holy cow!" So I hadn't seen much of that done in my years of junior college football till then. Athlete, and he could run, and he had a gift of the gab. He could definitely talk you right out of it too.
So was he that? So I had no idea he was recruited by Kentucky in basketball and all that. I mean, that's a big old boy. Was he that big when he got recruited at basketball, or did he put a lot of that size on later?
I think he had a lot of that size, the weight wise. He was just a big guy in the box, and I mean, and intramurals and stuff. I mean, he just killed people down in the post,
poking their eyes.
Yeah, he could really. He could really.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he was that guy that you did that you just whenever you played against him. I know as an LSU fan, you're like, yeah, I would like to have him on my team. I hate playing against him.
Yeah. Nick was like that. I hated for him. His career kind of got cut short because of when he got traded to the Saints. He never got to play a down because he couldn't pass the physicals. It was something to do with his heart. And but he was a guy that I kind of thought was a can't miss. All the ones we've had.
Your thoughts on not losing any eligibility now in junior college?
Well, I don't know if they've passed that yet. I think it's still. I think there's still some discussions that are going on. I know the quarterback at Vanderbilt, Pavia, is trying to. I think his attorneys are the one that are kind of leading the charge. I don't think he's actually fighting for more eligibility, but maybe they're fighting for, I guess, all the junior college guys in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to say where there's no, you can go play in junior college and it not count toward the 5 years that you have in the NCAA. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. They gave last year's group of guys, if they were finishing last season, gave them another season this year. And so I've had our guys call me about that. Was it still in effect for this year? And I've called some compliance guys and found out it's not in effect yet for them, but there's a chance they could have some more eligibility if this passes.
Wow, that would be huge.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, we got to move on to your son. Did you ever see Micah? Did you know he'd always want to be a coach?
Well, I thought it was going to be hard for him not to do that. He started out, he was going to go into engineering, and then he wound up trying to go to med school and all that. And he was working for a vascular surgeon in Jackson, Dr. Raju, and he was helping us, I guess, on game days and days that he didn't have anything to do. He would come down and help me. And I guess it was in 2012 when we played for the state championship that year and won it. And I get a call on a Sunday. I was coming back from the hunting camp, and he said, "Dad, I need to talk to you." And I said, "Well, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, I think I want to go into coaching." And I said, "Well," I said, "just do me a favor and be sure and tell your mom that I had nothing to do with that." And but I knew it was going to be hard because he loved ball, and that's where he grew up. Was on the football field, and all the days that when I was coaching at Holmes and Co-Lin and Mississippi State, when school was out, he was coming to practice every day. And, he learned how to hold on extra point and field goals from our holders when I was at Mississippi State. And one day this is when I was at Holmes. I took a bunch of kids to Southern Miss, and I couldn't find him nowhere. I was looking around everywhere. I couldn't find him. And I asked the guys, I said, "Where is Micah at?" And they said, "Coach, he's been out there catching punts for 10 minutes out there." He was, 7, 8 years old, and he's out there catching punts just like the guys in Southern Miss did. He just loved ball, and he was going to be somewhere on the field, during the games and stuff. And I know at Mississippi State he was on the field one time and about got run over on the sideline, and I had to get him off the sideline. So, but I knew it was going to be hard for him not to coach.
Yeah. And now we should say he is the head coach at Co-Lin. And
Yeah.
how tough is that for you?
Well, it's not too tough. My wife acts like it's tougher on her than it is on me. Even when I was the coach there. So, I don't know, but it's been good. I still help him a little bit I help him on Thursdays game day. So that's I'll go up in the press box for him. It's fun to watch him. There's things I've told him through the years that he's already kind of said back to me. He said, "I understand now why you wouldn't make a rash or rush decision on things. You'd go home and think about it at night." I said, "Well, it's easy to make a quick decision, and sometimes it's one that you regret, if you don't think about it. And, when you're dealing with kids, I think you have to do your due diligence on, making decisions and how much you think about things. And, but it's all about, to me, I've been fortunate. My wife's done a good job raising our kids, because I took care of a lot of other folks' kids more than I probably took care of mine when they were growing up. And I've tried to tell him things I wished I might have done a little differently sometimes when you're raising your kids and your family and stuff. But he's done a good job, and they were able to keep all the coaches together that I had on the staff with me, and they're a great group of guys, so he's kind of molded good with all of them. He helped me hire most of them, so I knew that it would be some point that I'd be stepping down and he'd have a chance to get it, and I wanted to make sure that when we hired him, there were people that he had a connection with too.
And Ronnie, we should mention that the National Football Foundation Miss Lou chapter is actually got Micah is going to speak at the February banquet. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I just heard that news earlier this week from Mr. Freddie. Yeah,
well, that's good. Freddie's a good guy, and Micah was he was up for the Campbell Award when he was playing at Delta State, and which is the highest award a football player can win. I think even more so maybe than the Heisman, I guess. He was one of, I think, maybe 8 guys that came up for that and went to New York, and that was a great experience for me and for him as well. I mean, I know that one thing I'll never go back to New York again, probably, because you wake up, you go to bed with horns going off in your hotel room, and you wake up with horns going off. For me.
Coach, let's go back to you left Holmes for Co-Lin, right? Is that correct? And Co-Lin, was Co-Lin your first head coach gig for college ball?
Coach there, and then Coach Sherrill hired me from there as assistant coach, and I was there for 7 years at Mississippi State, and then I went back to Co-Lin as the head coach. And,
okay, let's talk about that mindset going in as a head coach and all of that. And looking back at all you accomplished at Co-Lin, it's easy to see the success. But when you were going in, what was kind of that mindset?
Well, when I was going there, they had come. They had just, I guess they were hadn't had a great year, and I think they had played an ineligible player, and so they kind of were on probation, and so things were kind of rock bottom. And so my first 2 years there, I won 1 game a year, and so it took a little time to get to that. And in the third year, we played for the state championship, 2006. So I think the president, Dr. Garner, at that time, he was kind of asking Coach Young, had they hired the right guy? And after the first 2 seasons, and the second season was a hurricane season, so our season got cut short, and went 1-6, I think, and we lost probably 2 or 3 games there that we had a chance to win, that we could have probably been 3 or 4-0 going into the Pearl River game that year. And they were ranked number 1 in the nation that year. I think they won the state championship that year. We'd had how teams are, they get confidence, and you feel like you're better than you might actually be. And but I thought we had a great recruiting class that year. That second year I was there, had a lot of Brookhaven High School kids that were had just won a state championship. And, so, if we could just get to that 2006 year, I thought we had a chance to be really good. And we were really good that year, and probably should have won it that year. We beat Pearl River that year. They were ranked number 1, and we were ranked 3 or 4 going into the game, and we beat them, I think, 7 or 10 points, and then wound up playing them again in the state championship game. And they score like a minute to go and go up, and we drive down and miss a 38-yard field goal with 40-something seconds to go to win it. And so they beat us that year. And but had several opportunities there to win state championship, and then wound up winning in 12. And I guess it was 2006, 10, 12, 14, and 23. I guess we played for it during those times. And kind of like you were asking a question about the mindset. When you go in there, you always, every coach has an idea of how he wants to do things or how things need to go. And, you're only really as good as the people around you and your support group of people. And, that's probably the one thing about junior college is you don't have all of the help sometimes that you might need. Because when I went there, I had 4 coaches and myself, and had 2 on offense and 2 on defense. And so, it was kind of tough during those times. And then, as we became more successful, we were able to add coaches, and that's one thing. We weren't the only ones. There's that fought the number of coaches, and your budget, your facilities, all those things are things that you want to change. And at Co-Lin, the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've been able to upgrade facilities, and kind of like what I was talking about, Joey, earlier, about the field house. That's probably the last thing football wise, that needs to be done, that, you really won't have to apologize about anything. And, we get that done, and, that'll be really nice. And, but, kids are, they're no different in that league than they are in the Division I league about facilities. They're all about the eye candy. That, I can't tell you how many kids have told us during years of recruiting, especially in the last 10 years probably, that, Coach, we love your staff to death, but we just want to go here because they got more. And that's just the way kids are today. It's the eye candy, the what catches their eye. You might go somewhere and you're not going to be coached as good, but they want to go where they got better facilities. And that's probably the number one thing that you can't get administrators to hear that sometimes. I don't think they understand the impact. And, that's the thing that I'm, really excited about Co-Lin now is they got Dr. Middleton there, and he played at Co-Lin. He was actually a basketball player when I was assistant coach there. And I think he understands those things a lot better. Now, obviously you have to have money to make things happen like that. But, I know he's working on things like that to make the athletic facilities. I think he understands that athletics is your number one recruiting tool. I'll never forget, Joey, I know you remember Dr. Garner. Dr. Garner and I had a really big argument one time. This was, I think, around 2006. And he was a band guy at Mississippi State. And I had told him, made a comment to him. I said, Dr. Garner, I said, all the increased enrollment at Mississippi State during the time I was at Mississippi State from 96 to 2003, enrollment just tripled, and because of all the bowl games that we went to. And he said, no, he said, it's all because of the band. And I started laughing, and I said, I mean, it was funny. I mean, he said, what are you laughing about? I said, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So we ended up the conversation on an agreement to disagree. And season, we played Pearl River and Itawamba in the playoffs, and we had probably 5,000 people at both of those games, each night. And I guess it was the Monday or the Wednesday after the state championship game, he calls me in up to his office and he says, "I understand what you're talking about." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "There's no way that we can get that number of people on for any event." And that's the point I'm trying to make to you about. I told you about football. You put 60,000 folks in a stadium. There's 60,000 coming to listen to the band, and but I didn't mean that in a negative way. I just way it what it is. Same way at Co-Lin. I mean, we had 5,000 and 10,000 in 2 weekends, and he finally understood what I was talking about. But I never did get him to spend a lot of money on athletics when he was there. And like I say, those things are things you have to make a commitment to, and I mean, because you just look at ball games, on television now, all the sports use football as a recruiting tool when they bring kids on campus. Academics do the same thing. I was looking at something on Facebook the other day. Mississippi State had all kind of high school students on campus, and for some of their recruiting for students, and it's just the number one tool to do that, to promote your university, and it's so somehow or another you got to wind up spending more money on that, especially at the lower levels like the junior college levels, to help with those kind of things.
Even whenever I was at LSU is whenever I was down there whenever Nick Saban got hired, and I was working. I did some catering stuff. We did all the stuff for Louisiana, for LSU athletics and everything. I knew a lot of people in the building back then, and that was one of Nick Saban's things whenever he came in. I mean, he was like, "We got to stop being cheap. We've got to put money into the facilities," and that was his number one selling point. Like when he came in and was hired, it wasn't even about football. His number one selling point to LSU was, if you invest in the facilities, football will work. And if football works, enrollment will increase like crazy. That was his number one sell.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. I mean, it's I know probably from when I went to Co-Lin in 2003, I guess, or 4. From 4 to 14, I probably had as good a winning record as anybody in the junior college football, and then about 14 maybe is when East Mississippi made their big run at things, and spent money on facilities and how they were going to do something, and they made hired a coach and paid him a lot of money, and they ain't. He's still there, and he's done a great job. But they gave him a lot of things, a lot of leadway, and a lot of facilities to be able to go out and recruit and wow people to come to Scuba, Mississippi. And so, I mean, that to me, that's just the thing of people have to have a vision, and you can't talk them into something if they don't have a vision about how to go about things, and what it takes, and what this sport can do for everything. And to me, that's the biggest thing, as I can say. Like you said, Coach Saban, quit being cheap, and that's you gotta spend money to make money, and I've heard that ever since I was a little kid, and it's still true today.
So, is there still like the number of recruits you can get from out of state? Is there a restriction on that?
Yeah, I mean, they've actually increased it here the last 2 years. I think it's at 15 now. It was at 8. It was at 10. I think it's at 15 now. And there's talk about increasing it again, but I don't know if they'll do it. 15. It may be at 15 for a while now. It's a good thing for both reasons. The reason it was low is because you gave more Mississippi kids a chance. But the thing that's hurt Mississippi, I think, is like the Kansas League. They have unlimited out-of-staters. So and they have unlimited rosters, and which Mississippi there's not enough people per capita to let all the 14 junior colleges in Mississippi have 100 players. I mean that's not can't happen hardly, and there's just not enough people, and if you do something like that, the league gets watered way down. And the thing I always thought we had is that in the Mississippi League is that we had a good pulse on what it took for us to be successful compared to the other leagues. Well, I think the other leagues may have caught up with us a little bit because they've gone unlimited. But at the same time, I don't think they have top to bottom as good a league as we have. They might have one team out there that's really, really good, and where we could have still 5 or 6 that are pretty good. That any game that one of the 6 could beat somebody, and but I think those are there's stuff like that I think we still have a really good league competitively, and there might be some things that Mike could tweak to do better, and but it's usually we're right there in the talk when it all comes down, when it gets to the playoffs and everything.
Well, I think back when you were coaching, and boy, I don't think Co-Lin, the coaching staff all the way around was as good as anybody. Mike Jones and Gwen Young, man, y'all just had a great crew.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Young, I mean, what he did in women's basketball was amazing, and did it as long as he did, and that was kind of amazing. Like I said, Mike Jones was there, and then you had Paul Johnson and Rick Williams before all of those, and I mean they've kind of been a who's who in basketball there, coaches, and MK Turk, and so that they've been really good in basketball, and like I say, Coach Young had did a tremendous job, and I was fortunate enough to get to work under him, and him being AD, and learn a lot of things about the league from him, and he just did a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, we got
shout out to Natalie Wu Davis as well. Your public relations, boy,
Yeah.
She was one of the best.
Yeah, Natalie did a great job, and she was good to me. I mean, she, I don't know. Sometimes I guess I was kind of maybe I don't know if I was a horse's butt to some people or not, but they would always send Natalie to see me to get me to do stuff, and I guess because I would always say yes to Natalie because Natalie did a lot for me, and she was super good at her job, and so I try to help her any way I could, and but she's she did a great job, and I'm sure they miss her right now because she retired. I guess like I did last year, and I hadn't seen her at many of the games, so she's staying away, I guess. But she did a great job, and she did. And they've had Co-Lin's,
Burley and Walker, yeah, you're right, yeah.
They had a bunch of good people that have worked there in that job, and and good people that work there now still, and it's just to me it was a special place for me. Anytime you say somewhere 21 years, it's got to be a good thing. I think that's for me it was, and I had several chances to leave that I could have left and taken other jobs, and you stay somewhere, you get to a point where I couldn't leave at a certain point because of the Mississippi PERS retirement. So it's really good system, and so I kind of had to stay with that, and then just one of those deals. You stay as long as you can, and hopefully you keep doing a good job where they won't run you off.
Coach, we got time for a couple of more questions. Joey, I'll let you get the last one. I'll get one, and then I'll let you get us out of here. But Coach, my last question for you is just, you look back over, I said 21 seasons. There's a lot of wins, a lot of championship runner-up, a lot of things to celebrate. But when you look back today, what are you the most proud of, I guess, whenever you look back over your career?
Oh, shoot. There's, like you say, the wins, and, there's some things that, you wish you'd have won some games that, that you could have, especially the state championship games, you feel like you could have won. 23, we should have won it then. And like I mentioned earlier, 2006. And, but the biggest thing I think is the kids, having them go on and be successful. And, when they leave the program, might not have left it with the wins and losses that we wanted, but we, left, them getting their degree or being able to go on and further their education. And to me, that's what it's all about as a coach. You do things for the betterment of them.
Yeah.
And you talk about, I saw where Lane Kiffin said the other day that college coaching has become a lot like the NFL, and he wasn't saying that in a good way, but you see more pressure on college coaches now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look, I've got all kind of friends that got out of coach. Steve Ensminger, one of my best friends at LSU. He got out of coaching because of all this. And, the older coaches are getting out of it or going to the NFL. And, that's because you don't have to deal with all. They got other people that deal with all the stuff they're dealing with is unreal. And, when I was there in the spring, when the NIL stuff started, a lot of the coordinators would come through our league and look at players. Well, they're usually a week late now because they have to go in and recruit all the players to see who's going to leave or what it's going to take to keep them. And, it's just, it's not any fun anymore. You still love coaching the game and practicing and that stuff, but it's all the other stuff around it now that makes it not as enjoyable as it once was.
Yeah.
It's
Coach,
tough.
We certainly appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us this morning. I see Buck Burns right here in the comments say Coach Davis.
Yeah.
So
his brother fitted it and wound up going to LSU on me, Jeremy Lawrence.
Yeah.
Player.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Oh, Buck's been. He keeps up with me.
Yeah. Well, man, we appreciate you coming in this morning, and hopefully you'll come down to the football foundation whenever your son's speaking. We'll see you there.
I'll try to make a point to do that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming in, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back to wrap this thing up. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey y'all, it's Ronnie and Shannon with Miss Lou Champion Spotlight.
And we want to tell you about our awesome partner, J.E. Hicks Distributing Company, also known as Hicks Chicks.
Hicks Chicks is a local, family-owned food distribution company that has been serving the Miss Lou since 1945. You already know they serve all of your favorite restaurants, but did you know that they are also open to the public?
Hicks Chicks has a variety of food products, including delicious heat and eat options like chicken and dumplings, white bean chicken chili, lasagna, and gumbo. They also carry a wide variety of seafood options like shrimp, crabs, tuna steaks, salmon, and catfish.
And don't forget about their delicious burgers that are already pattied up for you, and their amazing dessert options.
So stop by today at 1380 Martin Luther King Jr. Road in Natchez. Hicks Chicks.
Way more than just chicken.
Hey guys, Ronnie Calhoun here with Miss Lou Champion Spotlight, and I want to tell you about our awesome partners, Wardo's Po' Boys. Wardo's was created in honor of Alan Ward Granning III, fondly known by family and friends as Wardo. In 2019, the oldest brother of the tribe passed away unexpectedly. His remaining siblings and loved ones wanted to honor his memory in a special way. In 2022, Ward's family decided to combine the need for a sandwich shop in downtown Natchez with a desire to pay tribute to Ward's love of good friends, good times, and great food. Through blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours of hard work, Wardo's was born. So go visit Wardo's today at 309 North Broadway Street in Natchez, where the po' boys are so good, you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
All right, guys, we are back. Again, thanks to Coach Glen Davis for joining us. Thanks for setting that up, Joey, as always.
Just a great guy.
Uh-huh.
And, I mentioned Glen Davis to people, and everybody just glows and goes on and on. He was such a popular guy around here. Everybody loved him to death, and he did a great job.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about. It's my first time to speak with him, but I could tell immediately what you were talking about when we were setting it up. Real quick, we have any local games coming up this week?
Yeah, we'll just go over those real quick, Ronnie. Big game tomorrow in Monroe. Faraday visits Ouachita Christian, who is undefeated. And, man, this is going to be a tough game for the Trojans. But, boy, they really need it if they want to have a good ranking. Delta Charter visits Block, and that should be I'm not going to say easy game for the Storm, but hopefully they won't have any trouble when Bears are struggling. They're winless, and boy, I tell you, Delta Charter really needs an easy game. But, it's never easy playing Block for them, but still, hopefully they can take care of business and get some younger guys in there. Vidalia is hosting they have Bunkie this week, and that's tomorrow night, and that's going to be a tough game for them. Bunkie lost their first game to Gina last week. They've got a heck of tandem at running back, so especially if Juice is not playing. Cathedral visits Copiah, a huge game there, too. So, the Green Wave are playing with a lot of confidence, and hopefully that'll carry them to a win this Friday. ACCS is going to Met School Center, as we said. That's for the district championship, so good luck to them. That would be just huge on their part. And of course, Natchez has a tough game as well. So, good luck to all our guys, and just hopefully have a good Friday night.
Yeah, good luck to everybody out there. Before we get out of here, we got to talk. We got a little craziness going down on the bayou. You had texted me early on Sunday and said, "This is what I'm hearing," and when you text me that, you were actually the first, but I ended up getting quite a few texts after that, but you were the first one to shout you out on that early scoop. You had text, "Hey, I think it's happening today, blah, blah, blah." And when you text me, I was like, wow, I just didn't think it was going to happen because of the money.
Yeah.
Obviously the fit wasn't there. I think that after the Florida game, when he came in and said, "You're spoiled," I think that was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
For many fans, I know, for including me, I was like, all right, I don't want to be chastised for asking a question about what's happening. We know
Scott Woodward wanted him to fire Joe Sloan, and he wouldn't do it. That certainly didn't help his case either.
Yeah. So, what do you take from Kelly's tenure here?
I just underwhelmed by it. It's just I had high hopes. I always liked him, and I thought he'd do a good job, but his personality never fit, and he just kept coming up with the same excuses, and it's just, I think it was the best move.
Yeah, I think sometimes you got to make tough decisions, and I think LSU was in one of those decisions. I don't think it was going to get any better. I think him chewing those coaches out. It's one thing to get on the coaches, but just the way he went about it sometimes, it wasn't a good look nationally or here. And I think it's a tough decision anytime you have to make a decision like that. But if you know that it's not getting any better and it's not a good fit, then I think it's a good decision for everybody. I think it's even going to be a good decision in the long run for Brian Kelly. I don't think he was happy. I don't think he liked the pressure that comes with the LSU job. I don't think he likes to work the amount of hours that it takes to be successful in the SEC, to be quite frank, from what I'm hearing. And I think it's going to be a good for both people eventually.
Yeah, he just didn't like the criticism either. You gotta learn to deal with that.
Yeah, and expectations. I mean, LSU's won 3 national championships in the last 21, 22 years, whatever. And it's just part of it. So what do you think? Where do you think LSU goes from here? I know there's a million rumors and all of that. If you you had to call it today, where would you say they go?
You know, I'm hearing a lot of good things about Kelvin Shepard, former player who's the Detroit defensive coordinator. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him going that way, but you know, of course, you're going to keep hearing Lane Kiffin and Lanning and others, so it'll be interesting to see what transpires here, especially with all the other schools that are still looking for coaches. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think the Lane Kiffin thing. I think everybody's saying that, but if you look at the timing of it, I think. If it was just in a vacuum, Lane Kiffin would come to LSU tomorrow. I think he would take the job. I think he'd be happy with it. It's a big job. It's a tier 1 job. I think he would come tomorrow, but his team's going to be in the playoffs more than likely. Right. LSU's not going to wait that long to make a hire. You can't hire him and say, "Well, I'm going to coach the rest of the year," because then you lose. I mean, just the timing of Lane is a mess for everybody. So I don't see that happening, but I think that LSU is going to end up with a lower name. Maybe I don't think it's going to be that huge name, the Lane Kiffin name, but I think that's okay, man. I think in today's world, you just need somebody who's going to come in and work your tail off and grind. LSU will take care of itself. You just need a competent coach with good coordinators and be able to recruit, and it'll take care of itself. I think I like the guy from Tulane, man. I like a lot about him. There's several of the coaches like that I like, the younger guy.
And it's all going to come down to who they put around them as far as assistant coaches, you know. And, you know, I hear Drinkwich's name at Missouri, which for personal reasons I wouldn't mind seeing that, because Alfred Davis was his defensive line coach at Missouri, and he's a native of Fairhaven. That would be cool. But, you know, we have to do what the governor says, bud.
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible, man. He needs to stay out of it. I see Dustin putting Nick Saban as coming back on there. Is that breaking news, Dustin? Is that what that is? Oh, man. I don't know, man. I wouldn't mind seeing Saban come back as like an AD to hold everybody's feet to the fire, but I don't know. I think he's he's happy
what he's doing. Right.
I don't blame him.
Miss Terry's happy.
Yeah, well, man, I appreciate you. Another great week, another great guest. Thanks to Coach Davis for coming out and spending or joining us for a few minutes this morning. Thank you to all of our partners out there. Without you guys, we couldn't do what we do. So if you enjoy these interviews, make sure to say thank you to our partners. Thank you to all of our viewers out there. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. So God bless everybody out there. Thank you again, Joey. And as always, have a champion day.
We want to tell you about our champion partners, including our Hall of Fame partners, Greg Vet Clinic, Hicks Chicks, Cyra Technologies, Kenny Chesney's Blue Chair Bay Rum, J&J Flooring and Natural Stone, Concordia Bank and Trust, and Go Mart. So go visit all of our champion partners that you see on the screen right now. Make sure to do business with them and tell them Miss Lou Champion sent you.